Okay, we're gonna try this again. I ran into some issues. Unfortunately, the game just wanted to say no, which was my computer. It was mainly a Windows update. But we're back, and now we're just doing overclocking. So I renamed this game so we have our update patch, which is completely there, kind of getting a little bit of the metric overlays, and then I'll do a real breakdown in 10 minutes and a quick break one. But looking at the situation, what I was able to find, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to enable. Looking at this, as you can kind of see, I pull back a lot of the drawers. But you can basically, as you go to your CPU units, you're going to have two different situations. We're going to test both of them. You have this, and then you have this for as far as the advanced controls. I definitely do like that. Power is just one setting. With your fans, you also have another one where you can turn up 100% maximum or have your own thing. This is a new improvement. Very well thought out for as far as that. Then looking at as far as the memory, I like that one a lot because you have your 20% and then you have your old school. So both of those should work out pretty well. So with that and all these already being dialed in, we're going to be doing our basic settings. So nothing for as far as the advancements yet. We'll be looking at the advancements right after to see what ends up happening once I max out all these, if it's like within some kind of boundary that AMD will deem safe. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But yeah, that's kind of weird. That's my computer's been kind of doing that lately, but I think it's because I need to install a whole bunch of stuff. It just recently had booted up in the last few days. So usually framework, all this other stuff ends up pouring in within. It's funny, you install a computer and it's never really the first 24 hours everything's installed. It's just like all of a sudden, like in the next week, you're just like, wait, why didn't you install this when you first did? Oh, okay, whatevs. The fan doesn't sound like it's at 100% though. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like it's barely at anything. At the same time too, this could be a bug for the metric overlay. We're gonna have to find out. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. So that crashed it. Though that was a very decent crash. I have to admit, like, for crashes in the past, usually that would tank the whole system. It'd be like, no way, Jose. So if zero was right where it's at in maximum frequency, you want to play with that, you can do that, but I'm not. I'm gonna go over here. I know what I'm looking at. I know what I want. Let's see here. Bring that up. Oh, what? That is some badass shit right there. I give you everything. Wait, I thought I could just maybe I had to this. Oh, there we go. I was like, wait, why aren't you working? So I know for a factoid I can get 2062. That is not a bad situation, right? Huh. Okay. So there's no middle graph anymore, right? And I can't. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and reset everything because maybe that is what the issue is here. Discharge changes. Reset. So now that we have that, go back to manual, click this over, go to advanced properties. There we go. This is what I wanted to see. When I messed with it last time, it totally messed it up. So if you run into issues, definitely had a default reset. And let's see here. We're going to go ahead and bring that up to where I know that it will work. And I know I can raise frequency just a tiny bit. In fact, actually, that should probably be fine by itself. So I do want to bring down the voltage so it doesn't blow my freaking board out. $21's perfect. Oh, it caps out at 18. It doesn't matter. It's just like, screw you. That's as much voltage as I'm going to give you. Fine, then we'll go to 16, just a hair underneath. And we'll give you a little bit more of a steady arch. About 902 should be good. Okay, good work. VRAM. This is where things get really interesting. Now, knowing what ends up happening with that, I'm just gonna go to advanced. I know I can run this at 1200. It's done it before. Not that big of a deal. And seeing the fan faults, unless this ends up booting in right away, I'm gonna try, but I'm not really gonna mess with it too much. So about another 20%, and we're gonna go ahead and hit apply changes. I'm gonna bring this all the way up, and let me take my headphone out so I can hear. See, I didn't hear anything. So I don't believe this. We're gonna change it ourselves. By 40% like degrees, it should be trucking. I feel like almost at 50%. Junction temperature at 105, you should be freaking out. So if that's between that and 50, this should be roughly, that's about 80 degrees. So it's 70. It should be full force. That way it gives it ramp up ability. Okay, I'm thinking that's gonna be good. Okay, the fan kind of changed, but it didn't seem like it went up all the way. I have to test this. I have to make sure that this is actually physically working, because that will tank an overclock right there. Oh no, it works. It works really well. So let's go ahead and say it's always going to run at 23% and tune this with this. That's perfect. So right now it's currently at 33 and it's peaking around 60 and it can go a lot higher. Should be cooling down right now. So this is kind of cool to play with. Just so we can kind of have a quiet factor a little bit. We could do it this way too. That way it consumes less electricity and then it just ramps up. It's just like, yeah, son. You kind of do it like this. I think that's the best way so it doesn't take up too much power out the gate. So that's pretty cool. I think we can, this is runnable. I guarantee we can run time spy at this, which we're gonna do right now. Okay, so please, please, please work epically for me. So far, the streaming ability, it's working decent. I don't see any issues. I think what ended up happening a lot with that earlier with why it crashed was just because it was just, well, it was a little bumsers. It was just wasn't digging the non-update. That's basically what it was. I'm hoping. Crashes more. Oh no! So far so good. I mean, damn, it is loading in fast. See what happens. If it's above 50 to 60, then we're good. Oh my. Oh my. Now the question is, how much farther can I push the bandwidth? I always get fooled by that blimp in the background. It looks like a damn Pokeball, like Ash Ketchum's gonna come out of nowhere trying to catch everyone. Not bad. I mean, it is like trying to punch its way into 70. Oh, it very well punched itself into 70, went to 80. Pretty good. The bandwidth itself is dancing around like 100 frequency below what it's normally supposed to be, so this is rather interesting. I'm very curious to see if we maybe tie. I have a feeling we're gonna tie, if not maybe get 50 points above, which in my point, that's like maybe nominal. That's like maybe a 1 to 2% increasement. Not what they're boasting. And also looking in the situation, like for as far as the overclocking has, this also shows the portion of the bandwidth of like maybe it might be maturing to the 2200. I mean, so far so good. Seems like it's killing it at 60 frames in this. But I've seen this before, so I'm not horribly impressed, I say. All right, end game right here. After we get past this, it's one more test. At least all the patch notes came into play in the last video. And if you're watching this video wondering where the patch notes are, reference the other one where it has the update in it versus the overclock. That will have the full patch. Oh my. I feel like it made this test run better. Memory clock frequencies holding at 1200 perfectly. I think I might be able to push it a little bit farther. It's only at 45. 28 watts. Pretty good. 860, 44. Oh, shit. Okay. They can actually say that they did really well. I support this update now. After like seeing the overclock that I was just able to achieve. It's not something you can plug and play. AMD's never been in plug and play. AMD is tinker and figure out and become better as a person in the situation. So this is really insanely good that they were able to kind of get this for as far as like an increasement. Because my last test, if we look at the benchmark, this definitely got like almost a 10% increasement. They can definitely boast that. Which I was kind of hoping, the 10 to 18%, not the 38%, which obviously they're going to have select titles which are going to work towards that. Okay, let's see here. I mean, that's not too bad going back to back, this being the base, this being like the situation of like where we can kind of gain a little bit. It's looking decent, like for as far as the upgrades goes when we kind of like run the test, because our original time spies, that's my original overclock. right here, which was the, let me bring it up just a little bit more so you can see the 860, and I can pop that into a compare. Hopefully it works this time. And then we have our other time spy, which we crack into it, the very first splashing portion. Kind of see it's running at a different clock speed. And then we have the portion right here, which again, you can add this one right here so we can see another clock speed. See all bases like running inside of there. So the resets to this to install, they definitely made an improvement. But for as far as the winning contender, and like this is running an identical overclock for what I did for the 2019 versus the 2020, and we had a huge increasement. I mean, look at that. That's like almost like 80 to 70 like points right there, and that would equate roughly within that percentage point would roughly be right around that, like, you know, 7 to 10% margin that you'd want to see in a gain in an update for as far as that. But now I'm wondering how far we can push it past that. Like already having these stats and having that, I'm going to open up the Wattman and we're going to see how farther we can push this. So 2100 is what I've seen a lot of creators be able to hit before, and I've hit that too. Like it's very unstable for the most part. So let's go to 2101, bring it down. 16, hit apply. Let's see what happens. I mean, at least it opened up Google. All right, time spy to time spy, and then we'll run our last. Oh, hold on real fast. Damn it. No ray tracing yet. So, okay, we can definitely confirm that this does not have ray tracing software built inside of it natively that we can toggle off and on from AMD yet. That will probably be in a patch that's coming, because they talked about it sometime in December. So, I mean, we still got some weeks left. Maybe that might be the 19.12.3 that we'll see. If not, we'll probably see a 20.1.1, like probably introduce that as we kind of hit the first quarter of next year, I'm hoping. Because AMD is pretty good with like being honest with what they put themselves out there with. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. And then they're like, well, we didn't think we were gonna do this like fast as we thought we were gonna do, but you know, hell, we still did it. So they're good with their word. So far, this is running pretty decent, and the clock, you can see frequency now is like dancing within the 2000. This is really good, and it's seeming increasingly stable. Like holy crap, so this allows you to overclock like a mofo. I mean, look at that. The bandwidth is dancing perfectly at like the VRAM, that DDR6 is at 1200, the frequency, and as well as the portion of like the GPU itself. It's pulling a lot of wattage, that's for sure, and the GPU temperature itself is encroaching at 60. So I mean, that's not horrible. My 2080 Ti dances around that when I like overclock it itself, or if I don't have like the fan on and it's automated, it'll probably get right around there and utilizing certain things. So I mean, that's right about your normal processor heat you normally kind of want to see. You don't want it to go to 70 or 80, that'd be kind of deadly, but low 50s and maybe low 60s for Celsius, that's actually a pretty good test. Holy crap, the clock frequency went insanely up. Okay. Don't crash now. Breathe, breathe, GPU. Gee. Ah, and our first crash. Rats. The crashing on this though is pretty decent. I feel like that's like it's very matured versus the 2019 like material. I might be wrong. Maybe this might be the one that like tanks it all. I think maybe this is the one that tanked it all. Oops. Maybe pushing the frequency a little too far. Let me just reset something real fast and see. Oh no, that reset the whole computer. You'll have to give it a second. It has to realize that it overclock failed. So the 21 frequency is way too high. Ay. To quote Zordon. Ay. Alpha's gonna be running around. Come on. Oh, you can reset. To be fair, I could reset it myself and just be done with it. There we go. Anyways, we'll go back into the Wattman now, knowing what I need to do. 21 is too high for it to run inside that situation. I should be able to run a more frequency clock induced situation. As you can see, these are the basically what the update has been covering. If you're just new, directly kind of popping in the boost, which they have directly inside of there, which works decently. It definitely adds like a little edge, like when you're running the AMD boost itself. Okay, it's tripped out. It's saying it has a boot failure, but it's fine. I highly doubt that it destroyed the system. But coming into gameplay, as we kind of see that situation, it probably just needs to have a save and play because I reset it, rested itself. Should be good. You're gonna be fine, little buddy. Yeah, there we are. Yes. Windows. One day it will be Linux. One day it will be very soon. I'm really excited about that, actually getting into Linux itself and just like learning the programming, having like hopefully a little bit more cores to play with in that situation. So with that being said, I think I do see my new issue. I'll be right back to reset that. Right back. It's funny, I know all the tricks nowadays. Okay, so now that I have everything back, let's go ahead and go back to the game feed. See, we're here, a portion. Go ahead and go back to our AMD clocking frequency, see what ends up happening. It may go away right now, VPN. You're kind of... Oh, okay. Thanks for being a dick, I guess. Okay, so yes, it did exactly what I thought it did, and just basically down-tuned it to whatever. So, I don't understand why it doesn't like going past... Oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe when it goes past like 100% on the fans, it just freaks the hell out. Because look, 100% before didn't really work on the calibration. It naturally goes at 100% naturally right there at the 90%. So let's go ahead and bring this to the new maximum type situation. Roll it back here, kind of like right there. And we'll bring that to where it's supposed to be. It's old like thing. So if it ever got to like danger, Will Robinson mode around 90 degrees, it would bounce over to here. So instead of that, we'll go ahead and tune this to be right here. And that should be a nice slope. It shouldn't be anything super crazy it can't handle. I do like the overlay though. It is great. I already know you can handle this. You'll be fine. This is what we need to tune just right. Go ahead and get fine tuning. I love this part. So since I knew 21 was way too high, we're gonna go, and I already know 2060. Let's try 2086. Fine, 2084. Bring this down because there's no way in hell it's gonna run at that frequency that hot. Burn up. Then just bring this up just a little bit to give it a nice little edge. So yeah, that should be your basic. Hit apply. Should be boosting like a mofo. Let's go ahead and boot in our time spy so we can run it back to back because I want to get one final score. I already know that when you utilize this by its base, it doesn't really meet the mark. It doesn't really live up to the legend that you want to get it on there. But for as far as the portion putting the boost on that you can get through the AMD menu inside of the settings, it does about a 50-point boost inside of the settings. So for the right applications, which the 38% might come into play, then for as far as doing overclocks, that's where you get the headroom. That's where I find myself being able to tune a lot more than what it used to be. It's pretty good. But I think that this will work fine since we got past the first test just good and dandy, and the second test is where the hangup was. It's pretty easy to say that like backing this off right where I have it right now, it might be the new OC King I'll dub and save the profile in the end, because I'm trying to find a new profile that works that I can just save through all the tests. We can run our benchmarks. So now knowing like what ends up saying boost on, boost off, DirectX, and all that other stuff, we'll just run all the overclocks and see if they can beat the old ones and see if they meet the test, because I would like to wrap this one up in like less than an hour or so and then work on the highlight video and then get to the NVIDIA and go from there, because there'll be a lot of testing for the AMD card, seeing how that runs in like hopefully 4K, because it seems like they have a whole new input for the way you can kind of do that, which is great. But so far so good. Not as promising out the gate as it did the first time. The first time it was just blowing it out, but pretty good here and there. It seems like it's more stable. Like right there in the 70s, it was a lot more aggressive versus the first time around when we had the crashes. I do like though the 3600 frequency Neo G.Skill RAM. Like that works so well. It's insanely good. Like anything that's like next gen Ryzen, the 7 NMN, it loves high frequency RAM. It's just something you want to invest into. And 3600 like it's finally come down, especially with the 16CL frequency. You can get that pretty decently nowadays through like their Neo, but like any of their specialized stuff like the 38, 38, 33, you're still getting like the 1-to-1 ratios. Like that's where like, you're gonna see like more expensive prices go into gameplay. Like I bought like pretty much two sticks of like what I ended up having for my 3200. So I had 4 sticks all together because the 2-pack of ×8 type situation. This is looking pretty good for the second portion of the test. I think it's gonna pass. Past that, like trying to get that, I got those for like, I think it was like glob, it was like $100 for every 16 gigs, which was pretty good. Then in order to get like the 4 set, it was like almost like $450. I paid twice the amount literally for just like another larger frequency of like 200, which definitely is only going to equate to 100, because like RAM's divided by 2 in order to get your frequency jumps. So well, they only getting like a solid 100 over it, but it'll still be in the 1-to-1 ratio, which I want, and that's definitely going to be a sweet spot for my Ryzen Threadripper 3rd series coming out. The Apollo rig that I have, like it's gonna be rocking my Zenith build. It almost got it, so it can't. It just can't go past like, damn. I think 77 might be the cap out, because 84 it almost got to the very edge. At least this one, see what ends up happening if it wants to just reset naturally by itself. Come on, little guy. Rats. Oh well. But going back towards the references, and you guys and gals can kind of see a little bit of the footnotes why I fixed this. Okay. Hopefully that works. That, buddy. There we go. You like that reset? Well, I mean, at least that one reset directly into the actual physical. Okay. Crashing on this new OS is way sweeter than what it used to, or it was pretty bad. Why do you like to disappear though? You don't like Nord? Is like Nord some bully or something? Comes in and be like, smile Wes. Bye bye bloatware. Okay. You know what? Screw it. You know what we're gonna do right here? We're gonna work within its damn limits. Right? You know, go 76. That way it's a pretty good solid drop. I think that should be it. If something went wrong, figured might as well reset it. It definitely seems like this is going to need a few patches though, for as far as what they need to get into gameplay. A lot of it might be resetting your computer too. Because I mean, it did crash, and a lot of times that does have a big part to play into it. So 62, I already know I got out. 84, I know it's not obtainable. 76 is what I'm aiming for. Fine, I'll push you to 18. Bring this up just a little bit. Still got a little bit of a curve. There we go. That's saved, and we're looking pretty good. Everything's already dialed in our new Adrenalin software. Let's run some benchmarks to see if I can slaughter my last test. As long as I can get one more point above what I got, I will be happy. Although I'm gonna want more than 1 point, but still, I think we can. 3D Mark's been like updating like a mofo. Okay, so we know test 1 works beautifully at the overclock. It's test 2 that always fails. I think we can do it this time. It's gonna happen. If that's the case, then we can finish up with running all the benchmarks just to make sure that they work fine. It's DirectX 11, 12, two different beasts, and the overclocking of 4K versus 1080p, or again, two different beasts. So far, so good. It definitely seems like the metric overlay, once it crashed, you have to enable it again. I definitely did like that. It was like the readout on the side, the top right. I just noticed gone. At least the readable portion of 3D marks is still down below for as far as the frame consumption. Yes, really nice. I like having those. Definitely help see like what's going on. Changes certain marks. Like I want to say it's doing better, but at the same time I want to say it's doing. Damn, it went to 90. Yeah, it's doing a hell of a lot. Almost went up to 100 towards. Alt R and Alt Z will also be recommended to get into there. I could, but I know the minute I open that up, it could affect the testing for the 3D Mark test, and I don't want to mess with it right now since it's fragile state. So far, so good. We'll know where the danger zone is right when we get towards the spaceship glide by. That is normally where it's at. But for as far as testing, it's seeming pretty good so far. Increasements are a little bit minute, so we'll probably maybe hopefully see 3750, maybe 38. We're like kind of lucky situation for as far as score marks. Hoping we can get an increasement. And we've cleared it. I think we're good. I think I might have just dialed in the maximum overhead overclock, but at the same time too, I might have hit the sweet spot before, knowing exactly where it's supposed to be. And that might have been the case for as far as when you start to get thermal locks and rollbacks, certain things. Because it was dancing right where it was supposed to be. We won't know until we get the combined test. That's going to be really like hardcore. That comes in DirectX 12 applications of not no. DirectX 12 is like so much easier. Kind of run certain things versus like DirectX 11, which seems to put a huge strain sometimes on certain applications. But then there's vice versa, as DirectX 12 can also affect. But cool, seems like we have found ourselves a new sweet spot, hopefully. If it just beats the score, and then we can continue. Then I need to save this profile too. So far so good. The overclocking on this, I'm loving this new software. Definitely endorse people downloading it, trying it out, and seeing if it works for their games, because it's going to be a trial and error process. Cool! It hit exactly where I thought it was. It's nice. Now we have a new plateau. We have a brand new plateau. I was able to beat my old score by a few points. Happy. See this as we kind of go in here. Our details. Yay me. 80% still. Now the one thing that I did notice though is like the scoring percentage did go down, so a lot more people are getting better technology as the percentages drive down. So yeah, look at that. 30-point increasement, give or take, 28 to be precise. Looking at the over portion of it just by itself, this normal overclock, and then this being the boost. So looking at the lineup, everything all together, this is actually pretty sweet. Install versus this being the boost, so it beats itself a little bit, then that being the normal overclock, this being the what you can push it towards semi-maximum, and this is like Goku's maximum auto autonomous for the moment, at least for AMD. So with that being said, let's go ahead and I'm gonna go here, go to my AMD software. We're gonna go ahead and see if I can save this. Let's see. Save profile. Say 2020 OC. That way I just have that just there. I can load it up if it ever crashes and up. And I might be able to turn up the fan just a little bit too, but I'm not really gonna mess with that right now. I have a perfect setting. Need to do benchmarks and do our overclock testing. So since we already got ourselves a regular test on the situation of just the regular time spy, let's push it to the extreme and see what we can kind of push ourselves on 4K, because I do notice that the applications of 1080p and 4K for the Radeon card are completely different. It seems to perform a little bit better at DirectX 12 applications in 4K than it does at 1080p, as shown in the last 2019 software application locking head, versus where the DirectX 11 seems to have an extremely well-fed system when it comes to overclocking for the 1080p versus the 4K. The 4K is very minute. The 1080p is very noticeable. So there's a little bit more bouncing ability. Like in this, it seems like they kind of polished it where it's balanced so far. But I'm liking it. Definitely dig it. Stable as hell. Me at least. I know it's crashed a few times in this already. It's pretty decent. So I mean, this is basically half the FPS of what it used to, so I'm gonna say that we're gonna probably hit some pretty good standpoints. I'm just curious what's gonna happen when we get to the second test. If this is just gonna be a little too much. I don't know. We'll find out in time. The overclocking tests continue. Okay, so this is gonna be the bread and butter. What we're looking at, folks. Easiest portion of the tests. I don't think I ever remember that Death Stranding looking guy, that one background, him. Why have I never noticed you? Test like 120. I think I would have noticed. Oh well. Hidden Easter egg, I suppose. Self. But all fun stuff inside. I've been hearing that as Intel products have not hit a lower price in order for people to kind of buy Ryzen product is being sold out across the board. I'm still waiting on my 37 or 3970X to be shipped from B&H Photos there. They're going to be sending it soon, hopefully. First come, first serve coming into it, and I pre-ordered it the day after, so there was a ton of people that probably found out to buy it through there. So, if I mean, worst comes to worst, I mean, within the holidays, we should seeing them flood out there. They're just going to be rare processors, and that's not a bad thing for myself. I'm not super worried. I mean, it would be nice to have it, but usually the first wafer points that they throw out there aren't always the best ones. Usually it's the second run because they're not as rushed as they're producing it with the deadlines hit. But they are cherry picking a lot of the higher end point stuff. I mean, Threadripper line and the Epic line are very top tier stuff for as far as what the chiplets they're getting in the die sets, which are making up the CPUs. So it's going to be very interesting to see what I can do with it. I'm more hoping that I can break off two nodes to run in tandem, which would be kind of nice because it would be nice to have two 18 or two 16 cores kind of like running in tandem together. But it used to, man, oh, that's where my processor's just like, I'm trying to do 4K, but just happened to slay. That 4 core doesn't know how to process 4K well. That's the sad part. So you give it another 4 cores from Intel, and it does all right. Like that's one of the fun portions that Intel does is they know how to make what they have work. And AMD just has found a new way to push the limit, it like overclocks and underclocks. I'm hoping we can shatter some scores here in 4K. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. We're running our Fire Strike test right after and summing up this test to see what is good in the hood. And then after that, I'll run probably a 5 to 7 minute recap video that I'll upload right after this, just covering the 1912.2 pros and cons, how to utilize it really fast. Just breaking down the stream that I did a little better. Compounding be a little bit easier for people, but for most people that want to see what everything's doing, make some separate videos, talking, patch notes, itself. This poor processor. It's trying as hard as she can. Poor little bugger. On. Come on, you're almost there, little. Alright, show me the money. Need that money. These are not going to be high scores. I mean, extraordinarily. Should all be. And it did. And it did decent. Not exactly where I wanted it, but it did decent. I mean, I did crack into the new 1%, but yeah. Let's go back to back, score to score. What did I do? Then we'll go to time spies. See if we can't just line those up. Alrighty. That way we can just see what's happening. Times by extreme to times by extreme, so 4109. Okay, cool. We beat it by a hair. 4909. Beat it at least by 15 points, which for 4K that's pretty big. Not too much, but decent. But stable. And that's one of the biggest things I'm thinking here, is that you're able to push the bandwidth just a little bit farther and it's stable. So let's go ahead and run our basics. Go to Fire Strike, and we'll start comparing our scores right after, or as far as what ends up happening. The score to score as we kind of end the stream towards the hour mark. You can definitely see our summon within under an hour for the overclocking challenge. Maybe that's how I should start running these sometimes. Like when it comes down to major updates like this, where it's like two graphics companies kind of dueling out it to trying to push more is out. Because like overall, this was a very good success for AMD, but you have to overclock. Like one of the things that I was able to notice was that you really didn't notice that big of gain for the average user. For the most people, they're going to be like, that's okay, maybe stable here and there and a little bit more easier to ramp up, but they're not going to get that joy and luster in their eye of going, holy crap, this really did gain a lot. Because looking right now at this, watching it kind of cut around that score, and it doesn't look like it's collapsing, doing a good job so far, makes me happy. Here to my eye, little Johnny's going to make it. Good job, Johnny. I don't know if my graphics card's name figured that. So yeah, all in all, these are looking towards better tomorrows for what AMD is pushing. How we're starting to see the true technology. I mean, these tests versus the original test that I ran day one, night and day, Radeon 7 card almost a year ago. It was okay, but was, as Linus was saying, a little underwhelming. So now it's turning to be a little cool nowadays. Is pushing towards the better market. So most people that did invest into it are now finally starting to get bang for the buck. What they invested into AMD long run for their software updates. And I think what they did was they just put the hardware out there, but wasn't really ready with the software, and then they developed the software as they go. And for me, as a technological investor and having people also invest in a technology that watch my channel and branch out, like these are the moments where it's like, for me, I'd much rather have that a company that's just like, yeah, okay, this is what our goal is, this is what day one is probably going to reach, but this is what our end goal is with this product and how we can kind of make it better, versus just like, yeah, this is it. You're like, wait, what? And there's bugs, and you're just like, what the hell? And it's so much garbage that I much rather a product that gets better through time than decreases. So it's like my performance of buy-in and appreciating or appreciate. It is interesting also too, since the Radeon 7 card isn't really made for like liquid metal. It's got that thermal pad that's like a graphite like thing. But I have found out that some people have gone to like the you can go to like a full water block, kind of push on there, and then that's when you really start to see some pretty cool performance and boosts, especially when you that RAM a lot cooler and it's icy, sliding around, data for data. Oh please, that looks crashed. Don't be dangerously cheesy. Don't you dare pull Cheetos mode. Bitch. No. Oh, it crashed but passed. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, that's good and bad at the same time. It was just on the verging point, but damn, that is an insane score right there. I'm gonna have to shut down 3D Mark though. Well, I don't want it to like blow up on me. So cool, I gained a solid percentage on my score. 94 is what I normally chill at. Given tied there within the normal overclocks, 95 is just something I recently was able to achieve. But as you can see, I've been pushing over a little bit, over 9,000. Then reaching things where it's in the preset where you can kind of see where it's like, yeah, now I'm kind of like within that going up as affordable class rather than down. This is insane. Let's compare our scores. Fire strike to fire strike. Okay, so looking at that, our fire strikes, we can go fire strike to fire strike. So you can see that there's a drastic increasement. I gained roughly about 137 points over the last one, and even if I down-tuned it just a little bit to where I had it, where the bandwidth was at 2062, I still would be able to achieve roughly probably about 2159, or at least over 100 and some odd points on top of there. So the gains that you get from this card and this update and this new software right now is purely overclocking. It seems like it loves the shit out of it. Now let me see if I can get this to boot up fine. I'll find out. Okay, so we've wiped out all these other tests. It's time to run an extreme. That it doesn't burn. You got this. Oh man, who knows where we're going to be going towards the future when we Navi units. Like that's going to be really interesting because now that we have like a lot of this rollout OS of the new 2020, and it's not even 2020, like they rolled this out hella early. I was really happy with that. Like when I was like, wait, what? It's happened? Oh, it's Christmas. What day is it, sir? It's Christmas. Okay, what just happened? Okay, it turned back. I was like, oh, please work for me. Okay, okay, I see what happened here. It doesn't like overclock right now. We should hit a reset. Let's hit a reset. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go ahead. When overclocking fails, you always hit a reset. And they did say that resetting definitely did have a big part to play into this. I mean, it's going to be, and mine right now are pushing limits as far as what's going on. This isn't like what's going to be stable for, playing Fortnite. This will probably crash the shit out of Fortnite. In fact, I would not recommend pushing the card to where I'm pushing it for stable game. Push it down just a little bit. One thing I did notice though, there is a lot of screen flicker when this new update was installed. You'll notice it a lot once it boots in. It kind of takes into its place. So I'm hoping the next few patches they'll hopefully be fixing that. It's not annoying, but it is hella noticeable. And at least it only happens, I noticed, within the first two. It does like at least 2 solid flickers. You kind of notice what's going down. But looks like I was able to get right back into physical game feed. If it memorized my overclock. Yes, it did. Since 76, obviously, I don't want to touch it. I want to see if I can still apply it to work. I think that's what it is. I really think it's the fan just too much. All right, let's see what happens here. Close down all my bloatware. Very closed. Are we ready to go? Tell me when to go. Okay. 3D benchmark. Hey, buddy. Me? Right, straight out the gate. What does it do? And one thing I did notice though, even though we did the reset and with the calibration level point of going into the overclock instantly was very nice. Though that could be an issue later on if you're trying to gate an issue. Could serve problematic. You get stuck in that, like a loop. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Like, I've noticed the other few times that it crashed where it couldn't recognize. It seems like for the most part this stuff is insanely intuitive. It likes to know what's going on and then say, okay, well, I'm gonna tell you, but I'm just gonna fix it for you. rather than like you trying to look around and shit. Because all the times it's told me that I needed to fix something, and I looked at it and it was like, wait, you already fixed that. Why the hell did you just tell me to fix it? When you fix it, you should be like, we noticed this, we fixed it. So we're gonna. That's a more direct approach, you know what I'm saying? But all right, cool. First test, finito, done pretty swell, pretty sway, I might say. Hopefully, we can actually make it run. Seemed like last time it just was not having time. But I think you can do it. You're a good Radeon card. Best ones. Only one. You are my best one. I have a lot more NVIDIA. Nice 1060 Extreme, the GTX series. I've got a 1070 Ti Mini, which was really nice to pick that up a deal last year. Then I have my 2080 Ti and then a Radeon 7 card. A lot of graphics cards. A lot of good ones. Kind of scout out, try to cherry pick what like mid to like high line times. Because 2017 to 2019, like, differences in cards and what the standards are completely different. Like gone into a whole new era, especially with Ampere coming around the corner and the turning. But I think we've successfully were able to kind of complete. I think we'll end up beating this test for the most part. See what ends up happening is clear the 4K turn. Card isn't super hard processor. It roughs in right around like 45 to 46 sometimes at the highs, which are really cool. Well, this is more of just a physics test for this, rather. This is the bread and butter. This is what breaks your fire strike. Because this is combining both of them. So it's like if you have like a game like in Metamendine, where like when you go into the new Wattman setting where it tells you what the game is compatible or not. These are things that are actually going to be easier to kind of see. Now, I should definitely see too. Like, I wonder if like it erased some of the other software. There was the remaining portions of 12.1. That would definitely help out a lot. All right, cool. Shazam. That did really well, actually. And it didn't want to crash instantly. But I want to say 12. Damn. There we go. Yeah, so I'm like almost bursting into the other category. 85%, 84 is normally where I chill. So again, I gained a percentage on just the situation of Fire Strike Extreme. Okay. Yeah, so look at that. Drastic. We gained almost like roughly within that from a 1240-80 to a 1256-70. I mean, literally almost 100. You're crushing that score at a like 87, give or take, which you're creating across the course. So I mean, that's good. With me being able to push that and see the limitations of what they basically had versus what we had before, stable overclocks versus like really good intuitive portion. These are good moments, really good moments. Start to see like a lot of the greater portions, like yesterday's overclock on the last OS versus today's overclock on today's OS. They're night and day differences. So since we've already kind of clobbered it for as far as the scores, let's go to our last score so we can finish this up and make sure that the Ultra and the 4K gaming at least comes out to compute work at this. It seems like the overclock that I've dialed in works just well, but again, is probably not stable enough for like to say they probably run it. Probably want it down to at least 2050. Bring down the voltage. This again is just for benchmarking of the card. It's new software. It's doing really good. I'm more excited to see what's happening with the phone, being able to play and remote play a lot of these situations. So that'd be kind of cool as far as like gameplay goes, covering that situation. But as the final score comes into place and the final test comes up, this is looking extraordinarily smooth. Looking at like everything that we have, and this is even, we'll have to look at the right after this score, bring up the Adrenalin software for as far as what it's looking. The settings, just to make sure the boost setting clicked in, because it may not have clicked in directly, and if that's the case, then do is directly go boot that in, give it another 50 over, which would give it almost pretty dry. Now again, this is pretty experimental with me doing the OC like this, because I did notice that my screen itself, it blanked out, but at least OBS is still capturing it, so it still was able to do that. And I noticed it does that when you're pushing the frequency. The card itself just trips out. Now this part right here always flickers the shit when it used to be back in the old school days, for as far as the way that it used to run, but now it's running. As we come towards the very end test, it may boot back onto my screen. It flickers out of this and goes into the physics test. But it may just stay on OBS, which is fine. We can hear that portion at the very end. Oh, cool. It definitely did boot back over. The question is, as long as it boots on. Yeah, both screens. I implore everyone to install this. If you do install this, definitely leave a comment how it goes, what video card you have, what processor you have, experience of user interface, how you like it, do you like it? Curious, because so far my experience, just intuitive to pick up where you have last Wattmans there, has a little bit more headroom with what it was, a lot more responsive. It does a great job for as far as stability. I feel like that is one of the biggest things that I can stay out of this. This app has huge. The last one didn't. Very unstable. Like even doing the HTTP adjustments stream way easier this time around. It's a crazy. We passed. Totally passed. What's our score? Damn, almost 7,000. That's pretty good. Any day now, Internet Explorer. Any day. Pony Express might show up with the internet, they say. Normally it doesn't. Looking at that portion, I guess I can go ahead and look at the overlay portion. It just spins pointless. Here. Average F. This is very nice. Not connected yet. I will be connected. I do like the check update situation that goes inside. And you can kind of look at for as far as performance and other situations. The game overlays is where you want to go and change a lot of stuff. The media, this is really cool. Ability is really cool. Very much like. Go ahead. Okay, so the Radeon boost is still in. Didn't dis. There you go. That is the top out of that situation for as far as the way it goes and dials in. Now. Oh, what the fuck, man? Come on. Pull your shit together. Core has not been validated. What the fuck do you mean it hasn't? Revalidate that. Hey, don't be pissed because I did a good score, you piece of poop. That was so unfair. So unfair. But I already know for the most part, as we come around these end of tests, I end this for as far as the big portion of the update. This has been great. Across the board, did DirectX 12 and 11 justice on the situation. Um, damn, dude, not bad. Like it did really well for mine too. Like the overclock on it was extraordinarily stable. The game, and it's cool to see that the 5700, because I've been kind of curious to see how that would have been maximized too, because it seems like they were kind of aiming a lot more towards it. But thanks for joining the game of Killer, chiming in with that information situation being more power tool score. But it's a friendly, I definitely like. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you're new to the network, you can always hit a subscription. This is definitely very rare when I do these ones. I used to host them exactly like this for the overclocking patch notes, but I'm doing this just because of the situation of trying to push out the updates, people to kind of get a little more familiar, see what the overclocking is. This is on Radeon 7. Then I downloaded it and launched it. Game was lagging. And then Kumar, what I would say is try to go inside of the base settings, see if you can kind of like readjust some things. Maybe your GPU will intuitively kind of, once you open up the Radeon new software, it will kind of readjust and kind of suggest things because it's really intuitive. So I would say definitely give that a try. But if not, then the 1912.3 probably will be a week or so because there's going to be bugs. That's why I would like to end this patch note and overclock note, should I say. But if you are experiencing issues, definitely drop comments down below. But thank you everyone for spending your time here. I appreciate return techies and new techies that join these tech forums, so video chronologing, as I kind of like test the patch notes 1 to 2 to see if they're good post and pre and seeing what they do. So this is great. If you do it outside the box, it kind of sucks. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the boost setting itself does decent. 50 points is okay. But when you overclock it, that's where the magic happens. I was able to get almost like consistently 150 to 200 points over the power boost setting FPS that it wanted. Now, I would be really interested to see if like creators later on pinpoint what games are the specific ones that they're saying out there. So if you're noticing a huge gain in your FPS with that boost on certain games, let me know. I'd be very curious to hear that. It's your boy Mac signing off, saying have a very friendly day, and I'll see you guys and gals in the near future. And if you're new and you subscribe today, who knows? Maybe me, Dan Harmon, and Justin Roiland will roll around with some comedy in an episode of Rick and Morty, because they're like confirmed for like 10 seasons. Badass. Hey, Kanye can do it, so can I. Right? Great. That's like a bucket list. Anyways, you'll have to subscribe to find out. But I'll see you guys and gals in the near future. Very nice day. And I'm going to go ahead and get ready for a mop-up, very short like summary of this patch right after this. So I'll see you guys and gals in the near future. Take it easy.